Welcome, everybody, back to the Game Vault Podcast. I am your host, Mark. And, we're almost through May here. I realized, talking at work today, that we have an outing as an office that was, like, the day before Memorial Day weekend. And, we, I was like, oh man, it's like 2 weeks from now. And my friend was like, no, that's next Thursday. And I was like, oh, shit, Memorial Day's next weekend. So, yeah, happy short week this week. For anybody that gets off on Friday, like for some reason my company does. Even though I'll probably be answering emails, at least Friday morning. And, in your short week next week. But, yeah, welcome. This is... I will update you. We'll probably still do a news hour. I'm not going anywhere for Memorial Day. The people I would go anywhere with, one of them is going down the shore with their friends, while the rest of her family goes to Virginia to Busch Gardens. So I will be hanging around here, maybe streaming a little bit more. Maybe we'll do a little bit longer stream on Saturday, like a big, long Persona stream or something like that. But yeah, so let's get into what we're playing, and let's start off with Persona. We usually leave that for last, but I want to start out here. As I say every week, that game, getting good. The part that I like where it's at is that we have Jared Leto and his crew that seem to be the anti-us, meaning... they want to keep the Dark Hour going. They want to keep, the stuff, Tartarus and all that. So, spoilers, again. I mean, if you're watching this, you may be watching the thing, but I'm not going to be deep into spoilers. So, we meet them. We have now our two groups. They play with the fact that, maybe, they're not as bad as they seem, or one of our people will go over, and it's just at that middle part where you can kind of see where the story's going, but then there's definitely, it's what I always call the second twist in Persona. Persona always has the first twist, which we've already done. Spoilers, I'll put my hand up here, for those of you watching on the video. The first twist was finding out that a lot of us are all connected to something that happened on the site of the high school 10 years ago. Like, one of the dads was one of the big reasons the shadows are around. One of the people's companies is, like the daughter of the father of the company. And, the other one is an orphan. It might have been an orphan because of the things that happened 10 years ago. That's the first twist. Finding out all that. Second twist is, I don't know what it's going to be. There's going to be a second twist because, full spoilers for 4 and 5 here. So 4, you go through all the stuff, and your first twist is you find out that your uncle's partner is the big bad of the game. Has been doing everything. Spoilers again for 4. It's been out for 15 years. We may play it on stream. And then the second twist is the part where you fight God. That's the second part in both games, and what I'm expecting in 3. At some point, we're going to fight God. I just trying to figure out where that God is going to come from. 5's comes from a very unexpected place, and actually explains a difference between a character that's in the other games and why he is different in 5 in the beginning than he is in the rest of the game. Or the rest of the games. So, we're waiting for that second twist. We probably still have about 20 hours till that second twist, but that's at the point now. We've passed the first twist. We're going to get about 30 hours of story, 20 to 30 hours of story, where we're, getting to the end. We may succeed or not succeed. 5 has them not succeed before you fight God. And, we'll go from there. But the combat's getting more interesting. The characters get more interesting. We added a dog to our party. Sorry, I couldn't keep that spoiler in. The good boy is going to be in our party the whole time. So I'm very, very excited and happy where we are. So I wouldn't mind doing a 7-8 hour stream on Saturday, unless if like life things, if somebody wants to throw a barbecue or something, obviously I'll go. But yeah, that's Persona 3. You can catch up on the VODs on YouTube if you want to be ready for Saturday. So check that out. The other game we're playing, Cyberpunk 2077. We just finished the All Foods mission, and then I think I did a few things. I don't know exactly what we did last time, because we didn't stream it this week. Originally, what happened was we had to postpone the recording of TC Tam for a day, and then last minute that got canceled. And by the time it got canceled, it was way too late to start streaming Cyberpunk. And then tonight, there was no way I was going to be available before 9 p.m. So rather than do like a half-hour Cyberpunk stream, which is not fair to Cyberpunk, I'm just going to push it back to next week at this point. You know, maybe we do some on Saturday, you know, when we have more time and stuff like that. We'll have a full Monday off where I might be able to do like streams during the day for you guys. Maybe we'll throw it in there. I don't like in the second stream of it there. Who knows? Monday meaning Memorial Day, depending on when you're listening to this. Yeah, but that game, I'm watching someone play through 1.0 and just seeing how different the menus and the skill trees and all are. Shows me that 2.0 is so much better of a game from that standpoint. Everything looks very simplified in watching the streamer go through it. So, yeah, I am happy with 2.0 so far. So, just looking to jump back in. At this point, you've probably seen me play Hades 2. You'll probably hear my full thoughts next week on what I think, because we'll be playing that on Sunday. Or maybe Saturday, I don't know. We'll be playing it after this gets recorded. Before you see it up on YouTube. So we'll be doing that. Along with Fallout 4, which is a fun time. We are going to have a conversation about, you know, Fallout 4 and even Cyberpunk to an extent, because I'm already playing a huge game in Persona, and Saturdays are already going to be huge games anyway. If maybe I want to take away one of those days for like a shorter experience, maybe, you know, just so we're not playing 3 60 to 100 hour games at the same time. I'm going to look up how long to beat for a couple other games I'm looking at doing. We might transition it to another type of long-running franchise to play that I've always wanted to stream all the way through for you guys. So, yeah. But going back to Fallout 4, we did our first time of rolling the die, and we went southwest, or just due south. It was due south, which sent us into Boston proper, which we are about 20 levels under where you need to be for that. So I got fucked up real good. We had to end the stream with me like trapped inside this Raider building, because I am not strong enough nor have enough HP to survive the at least 10 guys. So when we get back in there, I might need to sneak out and regroup. But we did get a whole lot of what's it called? We got a whole lot of loot. I have a fat man now for free because I killed somebody that had a fat man. I used it's casting couch audition. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a discussion. We're gonna have them show them my ID, show them their ID, get that on film so that we cannot be arrested. So, yeah, but I got to shoot 2 mini nukes that helped get us a lot of experience points. We beat a legendary raider, or I think they're called something else, where we're stuck. I killed a whole bunch of them using Molotov cocktails and grenades. But I think I'm all out of ways to kill these level 20 enemies that are in front of me. So I'm going to get the fuck out of there. We'll probably go and do main story. We'll do a little main story and actual quests that are on our board. Rather than do the directional thing, and then we'll do that next week. But yeah, we might want to... I don't know how you guys feeling about Fallout. I love Fallout, but I'm more interested in going through Cyberpunk a little bit more. And trying to figure out those systems and have a different run since I'm doing Nomad when I did a Street Kid or, the first time. But I think we need to probably either rotate one of those two out just for my sanity. So we will figure that out. As Night Duck says in the chat, that Cyberpunk is a better game, and and it all depends on there's gonna be people that love Fallout, not gonna get Cyberpunk, but I do agree Cyberpunk is a better game overall. So that was that. And then the other game that we're playing is Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I believe we were through World 5-1. That was the last thing we beat on stream here. So I think there are 6 worlds. And that's just going by the space that the tabs have at the top there. You would normally think 8, but I think there's only space for 6, which would make sense. This game was later in NES and Super Nintendo life, and maybe aimed a little more towards kids, so less levels, the better for that. And we'll get through that and get done that, and then we'll move on to another retro game to try and beat on stream. So I'm having a lot of fun. That game, there are some horseshit moments where I can see what they want me to do in terms of platforming and stuff like that. Then there's some sections where it's just I don't know how you do this, and sometimes you just gotta say fuck it and just go. Those flowers that spit out things. Then I had these other ones that bounce me around, and it just becomes chaotic at times. But I am enjoying it, even through some of the frustration. We did a great job, one-shotting the boss here. Bosses have all been fair. I think the levels are harder than the bosses, which makes sense in a Mario game. That's usually what it is. But, having fun with those. And then the only off-stream game I've been playing, which ties into, for those of you watching on Twitch, the trailer and stuff we watched beforehand, is FC24 came out for free on PlayStation. I think I'm going to get it on Xbox too. I'm not going to get it, but it's going to be part of Game Pass soon as part of EA. But the difference is the one on PlayStation is, the game of the month for PlayStation Plus, so you get to keep it. Unlike the EA Plus thing, which they can take away at any point, I assume. They could take away the other one too, but this is more of a download to your hard drive, not part of Game Pass that they can remove. So I'm playing through that, and it was what I said before we saw the trailer for NCAA 25. They needed to, and I hope they did, call up the FC team and just ask them, all right, how do you do the crowd noise? Because in sports, the two closest sports in terms of crowd involvement, crowd noise, being a part of the game, why you go to the games and all that, is American college football, soccer, European English soccer, South Americans, soccer outside the United States, essentially. Is what we'll say there, or outside the MLS. So, playing through FC24, I basically just play with the crowd noise and the PA announcer as though I'm at the game. Don't have the announcers or anything on. It's such a good time. And then we watch the trailer for NCAA, and it seems like they're hitting that on the head, too, as well. So, yeah, that's what I've been playing through this week. Yeah, it's been a busy and productive week on most ends here, in terms of video games. So let's get into the news. I will take these headphones off now. I probably shouldn't have had them on the whole time, but let's take them off. And let's just start with the story. Ooh. Behind the scenes. I will give my thoughts here for those of you that were not around. The College Football 25 trailer came out, and Tom had said to me when I told him about it, because I did legitimately watching that, I did get filled up, because I had been waiting. It's probably the equivalent of, and Tom could probably jump in on this, it's probably the equivalent of when the first teaser for Remake came out for Tom. In that I've been waiting for this game for 10 years because the college football games are one of my top 3 series of games. As I said when we watched the trailer, college football's so dumb, but the dumb parts of it are what make it a great video game to play. You can do so many, like, it's dumb. It's a dumb sport, and that's what's great about it. And it makes such a better video game experience than Madden. Especially if you don't really care about the ins and outs of football, the pageantry and the stupid shit, and all the glitz and glamour that are around college football instantly make it a better video game. So I got emotional watching it because it looked so good. Even though Tom did say probably pre-rendered graphics, stuff like that's not how real gameplay is going to look, which I agree with him. Most of that in that trailer is probably not what the final game is going to look like. But it did the one thing, and I think what made me emotional watching it was it hit the nail on the head in terms of getting the atmosphere right. Like, the crowds looked good, or I say what they made the crowds do, like they had the whiteout for Penn State, they had the 12th man for Texas A&M, they had the crowds ready around, Howard's Rock, at Clemson, all the traditional, stuff showing the stadiums. I hope all the entries are like what they showed, like when, as much as I dislike them as a program, when Notre Dame comes out and they have to play like the champions, sign, and all that dumb pageantry that I love and I know is probably very, very stupid to most people probably even listening to this podcast. But they seem to get that right. They got the blue turf. They, all that stuff. I can't wait for them to expand it from the FBS teams they do have to the FCS, some of the FCS teams, to get some of the more dumber traditions in, like, some of them FCS schools do have some really weird stadiums, and I hope they took the time they had to make sure they got everyone's stadium correct and not have, like, teams play at, like, generic stadiums. So, let me roll through this story here. Oh, that is not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay. So, you got some screenshots here. Obviously, this is all high res. We'll blow it up here for you guys. It just looks so clean. Holding that shot up for a second. We'll pause there. Okay. And then, looks like weather effects look good so far. The colors pop, which is what you want. If they're going to have the Heisman, which Playing through FC 24, where the World Cup is called the Men's International Tournament, you always worry about if they're going to get the sponsors for things. They're going to have the college football playoff, so we don't have to go through and do the dumb things there like we've had to do with, like Revamp did, where you can make your own playoff, but it's a whole thing of pulling the save file out from this folder and doing all this weird stuff to get it to work, and then it breaks where it counts your wins, but it doesn't really count your wins for that season, and a whole bunch of stuff, which is why I stopped doing it for NCAA 14. But yeah, they're going to have, the four normal things. You're going to have, your Play Now, your Dynasty, your Ultimate Team, which is the way EA makes its money. So it's the evil that has to be in all these games, because it needs to connect to Madden's Ultimate Team and all that good stuff. And then they have, the single player thing, the Road to the Heisman, or whatever they're going to call it. Road to Glory, as I read it up in there. And then they're going to add a new mode called Road to the College Football Playoff, which I imagine is just one single season, is what I'm assuming that means. But, it's going to add new things, which will be interesting. They got to add the portal in, NIL, all that stuff. Looks like they're doing Campus IQ, which will be like a wear and tear system, trying to make, some interesting gameplay so that when you get really good, there might be some things that'll throw you off, so that you don't run off 65 straight wins or some dumb thing. That you can do in these games. So all it has to have, and I'm not going to be like one of those people that are screaming it. I've seen on TikTok and other social medias, going, it better not be a Madden reskin, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, we haven't had the game in 11 years. It could be a straight copy of Madden that just has college teams in it with college stuff. And I'm like, yes, give me that game. I want that game for the first year. Just gimme college football teams playing college football with a Heisman and a playoff system and all the other stupid pageantry pregame bullshit. Give me Reese Davis. Give me Kirk Herbstreit. Give me all them guys. Give me Chris Fowler. Have it sponsored by Snickers or whatever. Just give me that bullshit. I don't care if it looks exactly like Madden. Madden looks pretty fucking good. It just has a ton of bugs in it. So, I don't know. And it also shows to me that, that the people screaming about, it's just going to be a Madden reskin, were not alive when this game was, or not like conscious of video games when this game was coming out back in the day. It was notorious. What's up, brother? It was notorious for being essentially on the last gen engine of Madden. Every year, it was whatever the Madden engine was the year before. They threw it to the NCAA team, and they made the NCAA game because they needed to make 300 and something teams, or 200 and something teams, whatever, work in it, and using an engine that's older and not as high quality was easier to put that many different players and games and stuff in there. So the people yelling it's just going to be a Madden reskin, you are all showing how old you are, because NCAA game has always been a Madden reskin. It just looks like this time they may have allowed them to do their own thing. Because it looks good as Madden, but there are definitely some college football touches to this. So I'm excited. July 19th, the only thing I'm pissed about is that I do actually have to purchase the game. Because I was hoping to maybe get my EA Plus Play subscription back for PC and be able to download this Madden FC, and save about $60 on it and get them all at the beginning. But this is only coming out for PlayStation and Xbox. It's PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, no last gen releases, which to make the game as good as it needs to be, you can't be worrying about lesser gen or lower gen stuff or older gen stuff, however you want to phrase it. Because that just means you can't push the envelope as far there. So I'm upset it's not coming out for PC. I think they were worried a bunch about PC, being able to edit files and stuff like that. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. But yeah, so I'm probably going to. My thought is that I'm probably going to go Xbox. Just for the sheer fact that having Xbox Game Pass gives me EA, which gives me Madden for free after the Super Bowl. So I can play the whole season of college football, play multiple seasons. If they allow you to save draft classes and import them into Madden, then I'll just play it on Xbox, play it through, have all my draft classes ready to go, and then when Madden becomes free in February, bang, I can switch over and play a couple seasons of Madden with my guys from NCAA. And stuff like that. So that's why I'm probably going Xbox. I'm going to say now, on the record, the PlayStation one is probably going to run better. Just a thought. Performance-wise, I would put the money on the PlayStation. But having Game Pass skews my thinking on that. Alright, moving on. We talked a lot about college football so far. Let's move on to something a little more fun. Lego is doing Horizon Adventures, a game for PlayStation. They have already put out Horizon Lego sets. As you can see here, there's a tall neck, and pieces like that, to actually do it and make sense to turn it into a game. We'll check out the at the PlayStation Showcase this month. We will get to see a little bit more, hopefully. I don't know what that kind of Lego game would look like. It would be fun, shooting the stuff off the Robo Dinos and making them Lego pieces that fall off. That's pretty good. Yeah. So the yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Lego has sort of pushed through, doing Star Wars and Harry Potter and those more kid-friendly franchises and stuff like that, Marvel, things like that. They tried Lego City, so it'll be interesting to see if a game very specific to PlayStation would be something that Lego can do, but we'll see. We'll see when that showcase comes out, what we're going to get here. Our next story is Hades 2. It's patch, which I think is come out already. By the time you hear this, it's like, doing early access, just sort of a lot of, consumer reviews or like what the feedback from the player has been is, helped with a lot of these things here. I'm not going to read them over because I don't want to get spoiled for anything, but the first patch is out, and it seems like a lot of these early access games, because that's what they do, is you get the feedback and you make it better, which is why people are always on the fence. Like, there are people that love to be in the early access and be part of this and doing this stuff and just being a part of creating the final product. Not so much from a design standpoint or an engineering standpoint, but just sort of, telling people, hey, this doesn't work. I remember the original Hades, they redid how poison worked, just because the original one was so overpowered that they had to tone it down a bit. And that was from player feedback in, the game itself. So, first patch is out, and like I said, that's good. When I get to play it, it's going to be played with the first patch. So that's nice to see. Yeah, I'm excited to jump in there. I was going to try to hold off to 1.0, but from everything I hear, there's enough game here, and there looks like they're already getting rid of some bugs and stuff like that for this. Moving on to Ubisoft news. They canceled The Division Heartland, which I believe was a free-to-play Division. They were going to try and, they're going to try to go for bigger projects, as they say here. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I love The Division. It was a good idea. I'm very generous when I use the word love for things. You guys should know that by now by watching this or listening to TC Tam or anything. It was fun. I had a good time. I like the idea of that kind of... I'm a very quest-oriented person when I play games. So, especially, I remember in the first one having those 3 colored markers to go do every time you opened up a new area and little things like that. And I think they had a similar thing in 2. The Division should have been bigger. I don't know where they missed that. Me and Tom really like The Division. It's just, I don't know where they missed the boat, because it has pieces that should have made it a bigger deal than it was. So this was going to be a free-to-play thing, showing another part of the city. I think we tried to do a raid or something. That was early. That was early Game Vault Pod stream. Yeah, that was early. Like I did raids for the first one on my own, like with randoms. But I don't think me and Tom got that far into. That was a very, very early, like I said, Game Vault Pod stream that we did. Or if we even streamed it, we might have been playing it off stream. But yeah, so yeah, I think it was something like that. We weren't too ready for that battle, but I'm upset to hear this, because like I said, I think the Division has a nice kernel of idea and a good world they were building, but like with Ubisoft, they just can't figure it out. And I don't know if I have it here, but Ubisoft always finds a way to fall into controversy somehow. Assassin's Creed announced their new game in feudal Japan. A lot of idiots online are upset by who the top 2 protagonists are, without knowing much of Japanese history. There are people that talk about it and are like, okay, maybe they're not as prominent as Assassin's Creed is going to make them out to be. But then there are the idiots that say it shouldn't be a black man and a woman on the cover of a Japanese game, a game set in feudal Japan. Which, to each their own. I think they're completely wrong, but especially with the history, with some stories from that time period in Japan. It's essentially like if anything, it's going to be a self-inflicted wound by just, not giving a little bit to those people that want, what they think is authentic. But yeah. But I also love people that say Assassin's Creed's realistic and historically accurate, and This is, Need I remind you that in Assassin's Creed 2, you fistfight the Pope, who is also a wizard that can go invisible, for an apple that allows you to talk to a space witch from the future. That was me pausing for you at all Google and find out that I am speaking the truth. That is 100% what happens at the end of Assassin's Creed 2. Well, not maybe 100%. I might have paraphrased some things out. But most of that happens there. And you're also jumping from hundreds of feet in the air and landing in a barrel of hay, which is physically not possible without dying. And you want to come scream in the internet about this feudal Japan thing not being realistic and historically accurate. Really? Many other things you could get more upset about. So anyway, moving on. Square Enix saying that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth 16 and Foam Stars, one of these things is not like the other, all failed to meet their expectations, which we'll go down to the tweet here and read. Final Fantasy 16 sales fell short of expectations. Initial momentum was in line with expectations, but games failed to reach fiscal year goal as the momentum slowed. And basically the same thing for Rebirth. Initial things did not hit what they meant. This is the same people that told, I forget, what was it, Tomb Raider or one of the Western studios or one of the studios, they told them had to make, maybe it was Final Fantasy 15, that they told that studio that they had to make 10 million had to sell 10 million copies in like the first month or 2 weeks or some ridiculous thing that was like only on like a Madden Call of Duty level of like initial purchases. So I'm not surprised that Square Enix over predicted what these games would sell for. I don't know what the hell they thought Foam Stars was going to sell. I guess they thought a lot of people, because it was like Splatoon, was going to sell like Splatoon, but it wasn't really marketed to kids like Splatoon was. I don't know. Square Enix, the only thing they got right in this whole investor call where all this stuff came out of is that they're going to go multi-platform from now on, which, yes, that is how, there's a story that I did not pick up on here that sort of feeds into this. So, Sony announced, and I'm paraphrasing, I might get the numbers slightly wrong here. I didn't think I'd be talking about it, so I didn't write it down. But Sony said that almost half of the PS4 owners have not switched over to a PS5. A large number of people have, because that was a large number. That was a lot of people that had PS4s. So, if you're going to put a game out like Final Fantasy Rebirth, which requires you to play the first game, almost exclusively, and you're going to put it exclusively on the console that only half have upgraded to, and is exclusive to that system, and then you are going to take that game that's exclusive to a system that has less of a user base and compare it to the sales of a game that came out on a bigger system with a bigger user base that was highly anticipated, and you're going to say that Rebirth was a disappointment because it didn't match up the remake, when you set up Rebirth to fail if that was your expectation. That's the only thing here. Like, we can argue, and I know argue is probably the wrong word, but me, Tom, and Jonathan have discussed, our different feelings on Rebirth. And you can say it's not a great game, or you can say it's the greatest game of all time. You can say you didn't like certain aspects, blah, blah, back and forth. But the one thing you have to agree on is doing sales numbers based on a game that came out with a console that, yeah. And that too. Yeah. They don't tell anybody when they're going to release a game, and then they're surprised people don't know about it when it's released. It's like they give these unrealistic expectations of numbers, and then they go, ooh, you didn't meet the numbers. Sorry. And it's very much the underpants gnomes thing, as Night Duck says in the chat. You know, it's like, make a game, number 2, question mark, 3, profit. That's Square Enix's game design. There's the one thing that got me riled up reading this story during the week was that all the stuff I read was they were saying, oh, it didn't compare to what we expected because of Remake. Yeah. Yeah, and it's also a company that put a lot of money into crypto. I mean, and as we found out on the roast of Tom Brady, even Gronk knew, me know that's not real money. Yeah. Sorry, this was my, not as much of a rant or frustration as Microsoft last week, because that was like, yeah, after it crashed, right, Night Duck? They put it into crypto after it hit its ceiling. So bad. You know, the Microsoft thing is like industry, like, impact. This is just dumb people in a boardroom. Now, is there a chance that Rebirth does disappoint sales? Why, sure. It's like I said, it's a game that almost expects you to play through the first game to get the same enjoyment out of it as, you know, the most enjoyment you can. They have the recap, but the recap leaves out a bunch of little stuff that makes the thing great. Yeah, and as Tom points out again, and 16.2 was locked to a platform. Like, they're going to put it out on PC, and they'll probably... Rebirth numbers are going to soar, because when you're on PC, you can do unlocked frame rate and all that good stuff that a lot of people are complaining about the PS5 version. And I don't think it's going to reach remake level, but it's going to improve sales. 16 might do the same thing. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what they're doing here, but Square. Moving on to, speaking of Microsoft, Black Ops 6 is going to go right to Game Pass and file this under... Oh, wait, let's get this talking head off our screen here. Let's file this under duh, because of course, you know, it's one of those things where here's the thought process. Here's an actual good numbers thought process here that Square does not do. So what Microsoft is hoping here is that you get the Call of Duty bros to buy, say even if they do the year. Let's throw a number out here because I don't feel like looking up the numbers. Let's say for a year of Game Pass Ultimate or whatever, even Game Pass, $120 a year. They buy that. You're already getting $50 more than, or you're getting if they would have bought the Ultimate Edition if you put that on Game Pass. So you get that money. What you're hoping is that they forget that they signed up for it and they renew it even if you don't release a Call of Duty next year. And then you get their money again because they're playing through this game. It makes so much sense if you can put a Call of Duty out and then make Call of Duties release like Horizons. Forza comes out, Space, Horizon, Space, Forza, Space, Horizon, Space, Forza is how it should work. You can do Black Ops Space, Modern Warfare Space, Black Ops, and get people to stay subscribed to Game Pass, and you make more money than them buying the games a la carte. And you can sell things to them during this time. You can sell updates to the maps and all that. Sorry, I muted the cough. I apologize for that. What I was saying was, you get a la carte for PlayStation, Nintendo, PC still, even with the game being on Game Pass. What you're hoping for is that you get a few more people into the ecosystem of Game Pass that wouldn't have bought the Call of Duty game, but will buy Game Pass to play Call of Duty. Me being one of them. I didn't buy the last Modern Warfare 3 because it didn't look appealing. It just looked like an up-res to 2, and I was done with 2. So, if Black Ops 6 comes out for Game Pass, I will download it. So, I think it's a genius thing to do, especially, this is why it always made no sense. Yeah, they should do the same. As Tom points out, because he's more of the Forza guy than I am, they have Car Pass, just for the people on Game Pass. And that's how you get people to buy Game Pass. And like I said, the way you make extra money is you space the games out every other year, and you hope that the people that signed up keep the subscription for that gap year, and then it's like them buying the game twice. And that adds up over millions of people that do it. So I think it's genius. It's the complete opposite of what what Square figures out from their accounting. So as much as Microsoft's still on my shit list, I do have to tip that to them with if they do this is a good idea for them. All right, moving on. Speaking of Game Pass, let's go through the games coming out for your what they call Wave 2 in May. Get out of here, Affirmed. Hellblade 2 will be here. I've already been playing NHL 24. You got Immortals of Avium. Chance of Senanar. I believe that's Senar. I think maybe that's how you say that. This is going to be another game that's going to be really good, but probably going to not reach the expectations that Microsoft wants with it. Galacticare. Haunty. These games are all coming late. Moving Out 2. I heard Moving Out was pretty good. Humanity's a pretty interesting game. If you, it's a puzzle game sort of thing. So, trying to get these groups of humans to all get to safety and not fall off the edge of the world. And Lords of the Fallen. Here's the full list. The only ones we didn't mention was Firework and Rolling Hills. And on the flip side, the game's leaving Game Pass, so if you're playing through these games or you have any interest in playing them, here's your last chance. Chicory, A Colorful Tale, might be the best game on this list. JoJo's is pretty good if you like, fighting games and stuff like that. Get the Pac-Man game, Little Witch in the Woods, Far World Pioneers, and Railway Empire 2. So if you're looking to play any of those games, I would imagine that Chicory's probably the only one on people's backlogs that's on there that they would want to get before it leaves. So I'll leave that up here for you watching on YouTube and Twitch. So you can kind of pick out the games that you want. Some of these are already out by the time you listen to this. Sonar, Mortals of Avium, and NHL 24 all came out before I even recorded the podcast here. So that's Game Pass. PlayStation Plus for the rest of May here. So for April, they had added Red Dead Redemption 2, Deceiving, The Sims 4, Crime Boss, Rockaway City. That's the game. I don't know if you're still here, Tom. Is that the game with Michael Madsen and all those actors in it? That's Crime Boss, right? There's a dumb game. They had them all in the trailer. I think so. I think that's what that game is. Cat Quest 1 and 2. Lego Movie 2 video game. Watch Dogs, the original. The game that I originally pre-ordered for my PlayStation 4. And then had to switch to, what did they switch to? FIFA? Some game that was out. NBA 2K14 something. They let me switch for free because it got delayed. Classics Catalog 2 Extreme. Love that game. Worms Pinball, G Police. There. And then down here should have the... that's interesting. Oh, this might have been May, but they put April in the thing. Okay. That makes more sense. This is what we call a typo here. But yeah, let's see. I'm going to click in there and see if this is what I think it is. Yes, it is that game. There's Michael Madsen. There's Chuck Norris. Vanilla Ice. I believe that's Danny Glover. Yeah, that's this game. This game's a piece of shit from what I remember. Alright, moving on. The Mortal Kombat 2 movie sequel gets a fall 2025 release date. The original Mortal Kombat movie that came out, surprisingly good. Not great, but with the last taste in our mouth being Annihilation, which is dog shit, this one was pretty good. In terms of, not on the level, I mean, Mortal Kombat, the original, is good for different reasons. But it was at least better than Annihilation, this newer one. I think we did a TC Tam episode on this, so if you want to check out the They Called Some Movie backlog. But, this new one's going to come out October 24th, 2025, so you got to be a year and a half, roughly, before, just check it out. And looks like we're getting Carl Urban. Some of these people might be in the first one, and I don't realize it. But yeah. Yeah, so the guy that wrote Moon Knight seems to be writing this. Okay. So yeah, if you guys were really into that, it comes out on IMAX. And I don't know if they'll do it for HBO Max like they did before, but yeah, October 2025. And finally, our last story. They, pause this. They put out some screenshots for Last of Us Season 2. And yeah. Joel looking very much the longer hair, the more scruffier look that he had at the beginning of 2. There, showing Ellie here in her winter outfit. Definitely different looks here. The only question, we're not going to obviously spoil anything, is I have two ways of handling this season. And I'll be very vague in what I'm talking about. You either have to have the thing happen immediately. Yeah. It either has to be immediate. I'm talking like first half of the first episode. The thing happens. You either have to do that and then have the flashbacks be the rest of the season at times. Maybe more flashbacks than in the game. So the thing either has to happen immediately, or you tell part of 2's story, but tell other stuff and have the thing happen at the end of season 2. It's the only two ways to do it. Yeah, it happens within the first 2 hours of the game. So, the only two ways to handle it is it either needs to be immediate, or, I mean, they could probably even do the end of the first episode, kind of like what they did with, they turned that into a big episode for the pilot with Sarah's death in the first one. So you either have to have the thing happen, at least the first episode. I would say first half of the first episode. So you don't have people... I don't know if you want people screaming about it for a week. You'd rather show what the series is going to be like after that, going forward. But it'll be very interesting to see. You can even stretch it out to the end of the season by doing more of bringing Abby in sooner and more of her backstory sooner. And, you can do a bunch of things. But, yeah. I mean, true. Absolutely true. That's one of my favorite things about that The Last of Us does, that does get teased about, as Night Duck said, about the snowball fights. But they do give you stupid things like that early in both games, so that you can remember the buttons again, or, how to do things. But yes, the snowball fight is pretty dumb. It does have one of my favorite lines where Dina goes, "Get over here, you little shits," as she's throwing snowballs at kids. But yeah, you can. If you're gonna stretch the thing out till the end of the season, you have to do it by showing more Abby stuff, like early Abby stuff, early on, and sort of just have season 3 be the two of them. Doing their thing. But we'll see. I think it's going to be in the first episode. I think they're going to end the first episode with it because thinking people will talk about it for a week. I don't know. Just someone that lived through the game. I don't want that to be the last thing for the first episode. But we'll see. We'll see how they do. But, yeah, so, let us know what you think. You can go into our Discord. You can go into, Twitter, Instagram. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky. Anything if you want to talk about, the things we talked about here tonight. Let us know what you think. Let me go back to Big Mark here. So, let us know. Let us know what you think. In our Discord, I give everyone permission to go full spoilers with their thoughts on what we were talking about with The Last of Us Part 2. Why does it... That's the one fun thing. I don't know if you guys are watching on YouTube, you're watching me. For some reason, turning this way, I lose half my face, but turning this way, I do not. I do, but it's got... Okay, yeah, there we go. Sorry. Green screen thing still freaks me out a bit. So, let us know there. Let us know what you think about NCAA 25. Let us know about how much you think Square Enix are dumbasses, what you think of Call of Duty on Game Pass. Anything, just go over to the Discord. You can make a channel if you want, or message one of us. either during a stream or on Twitter or one of the other things, if you want us to create a channel for people to discuss things in. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me. It was fun. We'll be back streaming. And tonight we'll be doing Super Mario World. I'm going to say probably Thursday for Cyberpunk. Thursday is a little weird for personal reasons. So we'll see. But definitely will be your Friday for the News Hour again. Saturday for Persona. Sunday for Fallout 4. If you're watching this on Twitch, we are going to be here Saturday with Persona, and then Sunday it'll be Hades 2 and Fallout. So be on the lookout there. And yeah, that's about it. I'll talk to you guys later. Yeah, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit that little notification button so you know when the YouTube videos go up. There's going to be a bunch more coming up next week. I'm hoping to have the 2 parts of Extra Life, the in-person one, up sometime in the next couple weeks here. But yeah, they have to split them up into 6-hour chunks. So, yeah. Thank you once again for joining me, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye!